So, what if I told you that being different isn't some big dramatic thing? What if it's actually way more subtle? We're going to go through 6 signs of what's called an uncommon mind. And here's the really interesting part. You don't need to have all 6. If just 3 or 4 of these make you go, hey, that sounds like me, then there's a pretty good chance your brain is just wired a little differently than most.
Which, of course, leads to the big question. Is your mind different? It's funny because often the most unique thinkers out there are the very last people to realize it. So as we explore these 6 key signs, kind of keep a mental tally in your head. Let's see how many of them feel familiar to you.
And remember, the threshold here is surprisingly low. Just 3. If 3 of these signs resonate with you, it suggests your thought process is already a bit out of the ordinary. And this isn't about being better or worse, it's just different. Operating on a slightly different frequency, you know?
Okay, first up, solitude and deep thinking. Let's take a look at how an uncommon mind really works when it gets away from all the noise of the outside world.
So for sign number 1, just ask yourself this. Do crowds totally drain your social battery, but being alone completely recharges it? If you feel your mental energy just plummet in a group, but then the second you're by yourself, your mind just lights up, buzzing with ideas and creativity, well, that's our first sign right there.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. From a psychological standpoint, people who feel this way aren't just thinking on the surface level. Their minds are actually wired for much deeper processing. So for them, solitude isn't about being antisocial. It's about creating that essential mental space where their best ideas can finally come out.
This leads perfectly into our second sign, which is deep thinking. See, for a lot of people, getting an answer is the finish line. For you, it's the starting pistol. You don't just accept the what. Your mind instinctively starts digging for the why and the how. It's just a habit, but it's a habit that totally defines this different way of thinking.
Okay, next, let's get into selectivity and understanding people. These next 2 signs are all about shifting from your inner world to how you interact with others. And yeah, this is often where the misunderstandings can start.
And this brings us to sign number 3. And this one might hit close to home. Have you ever been called lazy because you don't just immediately jump on a task? Well, here's the thing. It's probably not laziness at all. It's selectivity. You're not just mindlessly doing things, you're taking a moment to evaluate if they're even worth doing in the first place. That's a huge difference.
Sign number 4 is a big one. Your people reading ability. It's that powerful gut feeling, that intuition, where you can just feel if someone is being fake or if they're the real deal. This isn't about being judgmental, it's just the sense you have. And it also explains why you might be a bit more reserved. You're not trying to connect with everyone because you're saving your energy for authentic connections.
All right, let's just hit pause for a second here. We're 4 signs in. How's that mental checklist looking? Are you at 1, 2, maybe even more? Just think about it for a moment before we dive into our final 2. On to our final pair, different interests and emotional control. These last 2 signs are all about what fuels your passion and how you manage your own inner world. So sign number 5 is all about what grabs your attention. You're not really driven by what's popular or what's trending at the moment. Instead, you follow your own curiosity down these fascinating rabbit holes, which often leads you to some really deep, unique, and yeah, sometimes kind of quirky interests that are all yours.
And for our final sign, number 6, let's talk about emotional control. When you're faced with a tough situation, your instinct isn't to just react. It's to observe. You process what's happening, and then you respond. That little pause, that tiny space between what happens and how you deal with it, is a massive source of mental strength. It's like a superpower.
So we've gone through all 6 signs, and if you found yourself nodding along to a bunch of these, let's talk about what that actually means for you.
Let's just circle back to what we said at the very beginning. If you recognized 3 or 4 or hey, even more of these traits in yourself, the takeaway is pretty clear. There's a very strong chance your mind just operates in a rare and uncommon way. It's that simple. You just process the world differently.
So when you put it all together, you really start to see a clear picture, right? An uncommon mind thrives in solitude to think deeply, it's selective with its energy, it trusts its intuition about people, it follows its own unique curiosity, and it responds to the world with thoughtful control. You can see how each sign kind of builds on the others.
And that brings us to our final question for you. It's not just about counting the signs. Now that you've seen these traits laid out, how might that knowledge change the way you see yourself? We'd love to know. Tell us in the comments, how many signs did you notice in yourself?